My name is Michael Kostiuk. I'm a resident in Ottawa, Canada. I'm also a member of a Facebook group called Kitchissippi Trails. Last winter I saw a presentation about Aboriginal trails in Eastern Ontario, some that of course went through the city of Ottawa. Since I live close to a place called Hampton Park, and I've been walking through there since I was a child, I'm just kind of curious about whether some of these trails are perhaps remnants of ancient Aboriginal trails. As you see the map here, if you look at the ridges around this part of Ottawa, I drew some possible trail routes that follow the ridges, and you see some of them actually go right through Hampton Park. And I'll let my narration in my iPhone continue this. So it's Michael Kostiuk on May 23rd, 2022. I'm at the eastern side of Hampton Park, but I'm looking towards the east, towards the ridge line that goes where the Royal Ottawa Hospital is. The reason why I'm showing that is I'm curious whether this is a former Aboriginal native trail, because if you use the concept or the idea that they walked on ridges, this ridge leads right into Hampton Park. Now Hampton Park is actually very interesting because it's actually an old growth forest that has survived the city growing around it. So if you can think like a big boulder in a river that has resisted a river and the water kind of flows around it, these beautiful ancient trees here have been around for quite a long time. So I'm just wondering if there's any remnants of pathways through this area. And even when you look at where the current pathway is, it almost seems like it was built to follow a pre-existing pathway. So I'm wondering, is this a pre-existing ancient trail? So again, looking back towards the east to the area of the Royal Ottawa Hospital. That's Allen Park Drive, by the way, in the Queensway. So panning back over here into the Hampton Park Forest, which is a special area because it's noted for its ancient trees that are in this area. So it's an ecologically significant area. And in a moment I'm going to show a branch trail which goes along the ridge itself, which has been there since I was a child. I find that one quite interesting as well. This is part two of being in Hampton Park. This is the current pathway that goes through here. Let me just turn around to where I was, about 100 meters to the east in the first video. See how it sort of goes towards that ridge line where the Royal Ottawa Hospital is now. But here I want to show something that's kind of interesting. Even as a child, I kind of thought that this kind of stuck out here. This looks almost like a fork here. This looks almost like two branching trails. The current trail heads off a little more to the due west. And that will actually go, if you follow it, that'll take you to the area around Britannia Beach. Now this trail here looks like the old original trail. I don't know how old it is, but I just remember as a child, I'm 67, I remember as a child that this trail was still here in that era. And I've been walking here all these years. Now this one here, if you actually follow the ridge line, you can see the ridge here. This will lead you to the area of around Churchill Avenue, which will bring you to the area on the Ottawa River just a little bit to the west of Westboro Beach. So I'm just wondering, is this also a trail? Now that down there is a modern trail. That was not there when I was a child, but this one was. This one here was. Okay, so it just makes me wonder, is this a remnant of an early trail? I'm not sure. But it's certainly got a nice feel about it. I mean, look at all these old trees up here. Yeah. Like I mentioned, that this is a recognized area. The National Capital Commission has designated this as ecologically significant because of the old growth trees here. So, well, maybe. So I now invite your comments. So this is the trail going through Hampton Park. Is this possibly an old Aboriginal native trail? Let me know. It's Michael Kostiuk here on May 23rd, 2022. Okay, let's make this a three-part video. This is video number 3. Still in Hampton Park, still looking east. So I mentioned that the trail, the current trail kind of curves around a bit to the southwest a bit. Still a lot of nice old growth trees here. Maples and probably white pines, but looking at it up there. They're still here. When I was a child, there was a lot more trees over the years. A lot of trees have come down due to storm damage. So this trail now exits over here at the western part of Hampton Park. If you were to continue west, this will probably bring you approximately to the location of around Britannia Beach, which is interesting because that would bring you to the area outside of the rapids, so you wouldn't actually have to go through the rapids if you were wanting to venture that way. In this area, one of the best the east-west roads is Dovercourt, and you can get to it in a short distance from here, and it'll bring you to that western part of the city. So I'm just wondering if, again, you know, this being a ridge and being an old-growth forest, this current pathway built on the historical pathway of the first peoples, the Algonquin peoples in our Ottawa Valley. Again, you tell me. Look at these beautiful trees, though, too, eh? Like I mentioned, it's recognized as ecologically significant due to all the old growth trees here in Hampton Park. So it's Michael Kostiuk, May 23rd, 2022. And by the way, this is the day, 2 days after that massive storm that went through the Ottawa area, the derecho. And I came here also to see whether trees were knocked down, and they weren't. For once, this place was spared. Okay, good.